Okay. I'm out here moving the cows, and I heard my neighbor over here. This guy's harvesting grapes with a grape harvester, big machine. If it gets close enough, I'll show it to you. But it reminds me of a story years ago, back in the late 80s, early 90s. Oh, the Indian dude is on here. I thought it'd be a Mexican guy or something. Anyhow, late 80s, early 90s, I had this girlfriend. We went to Napa, which is like the wine capital. Everybody's heard about Napa. There's all these wineries over there, and you go on these wine tours. We went to like 5 or 6 wineries over. It's all kind of the same. Each got their little shtick, but they tell you the history of the vineyard and everything. But one winery was real big on technology, real high tech, and they only used grape harvesters like this machine here to pick their crop. And get ready to flip this thing around to pick their crop. See, because they said the technology was so great. This, like I said, late 80s, early 90s, before LED, way back. But the guy said the reason they used the machine is because it's calibrated in such a way to shake the tree, the plant, just so that only the ripe grapes come off the plant. You know, if you have a really ripe fruit, one that's not so ripe, you shake a tree, the ripe stuff falls off. And he says, so we only use the machine because it's more objective. Whereas, you know, a guy who's getting paid by the pound is going to pick everything off the plant. And so he said, we only use the machine. Then you go to another winery, and the guy says, we don't use the machine. Because the machine, you know, you need a human being to look at this plant and actually visualize, see what they're picking. And they pick, you know, we pay our people to only pick the ripe fruit, the fruit that is right on the money. And so it's like, okay, you got 2 different approaches here. One guy swears it's got to be hand-picked. The other guy says it's high-tech, you know, it's better to use the machine. Let's get a shot of the machine here. See if you can get that in there. There he is. Big thing. The guy's waving at me. He thinks he knows he's on YouTube. It's just the Indian family that has this thing over here. Get you a better shot. Let me see it. Anyhow, so the first winery says we use the machine because it's technology, it's better than man. I'm going to cross this fence, hopefully not castrate myself. Then other guy says no, it's got to be hand-picked. You know, only a human being can pick the right fruit. Finally, we go into a guy's hollering at me. We go into this other winery, and the guy says, "So have you all done the other tours?" And they said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you hear about the picking with the machine? How that's the best way to go, high tech?" And everyone said, "Yeah." He said, "You heard about picking by hand because only a human being can pick the right grapes?" Yeah, we heard all that. He said, "Let me tell you something." He says, "Out here at our place, we use both, humans and machines, whatever's most efficient and most profitable." He said, you see these people that talk about using just humans to pick the fruit? Those people are paid by the pound or by the bushel, by weight. He said they pick everything, dirt clods, dead squirrels, whatever they can fit in that pan, that bag, and bring it in. He says, so that's a bunch of baloney. So they're not paid by the hour, paid by what they bring in. So the guy says, then the guy using the machine, who contracts the machine and uses the harvester, he says that guy goes out there, picks a row, turns around, picks it again, turns around, picks the same row again. He says, why do you think he does that? To get as much off that tree as he can. He said this idea that only picks the ripest fruit, he says, listen. He said, what goes into these vats when we pick, it's everything. Leaves, stems, dead quail, whatever. It all goes in. It all gets picked. He says this idea that it's either got to be human or it's got to be a high-tech machine picking the fruit, the grapes. He said that's a bunch of malarkey. Everyone's paid by the pound and by how much you bring in. And he said right there, all discretion goes out the window because it becomes a bulk item. But I thought that's kind of funny. He's like the only guy that was honest enough. He said they did both, whichever was most efficient. He said sometimes you can't get a crew, so you bring a harvester out. Harvester's too high or too busy, you bring a crew out. He said whatever gets the job done. He said it really doesn't matter what comes off that tree. The majority of it is grapes. The rest sinks to the bottom. Anyhow, no new calf today. I think I got a kick out of it. Kept waving. Yeah, have a great weekend. Love you. God bless.